Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 11 of the ZinoNation. We have a great show tonight. We have a real good two guests tonight. This is my first time we have multiple guests in a long time. We're joined tonight by Bill, the drone reviewer, all the way from sunny Florida. Sunny, cool Florida.
Sunny, hot, and humid Florida, Ron.
And also, we're joined by Al Duran, who you may remember from being here last week, but we had to get him right back on again because, well, I'll let him tell you. We have a big announcement since last week's show. And also, I'm here with my regular co-host, Marcus Crawford. Marcus, how are you doing tonight?
Not too bad, Ron. Not too bad. Yeah, we got a lot of good news tonight to talk about. Al has some news for us, and having Bill, the drone reviewer, on is always a great thing. He's always got some good information for us, particularly with regard to he's got his ears on the drumbeat from DJI all the time. And with Al on here, we can talk about the Fimi X8 SE. I've had some interesting experiences with it lately, and I'm willing to bet that Al has too. So yeah, we'll have a good busy show tonight. And hey, we don't want to forget the Zino.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Marcus. We're going to read an email tonight from Cigar Nation Warriors, who I see in the chat already. He had a little issue with his Zino, so we're going to read his email on live here. We're going to see if anybody in the panel has any ideas or suggestions, and then we're going to also check the chat room out. Hopefully, between all these Zino experts here, somebody has a clue to help Cigar Nation Warriors, aka Bill, get his Zino flying properly again. So. Well, we're going to see how our guests are doing tonight. Al, how are you tonight? How's your week been?
Oh, man, it's been a great week. Actually, I was on vacation and I got some good news. I entered that third annual Zino aerial photography contest. And I am glad to say that I came in first place, and I didn't expect it. But it was unbelievable. I had a really good time. It was a double thumbs up, like Ron said. Yeah, really, really, really good time. Very surprised. And how they announce it is they don't put it on the web page anymore. They do it through their Facebook page. And so I was getting messages, hey, congratulations for your first place video. And I was like, oh, did I win? So I was like, I literally went onto Google and started looking around. And I finally found the webpage for Facebook and it's all the way at the bottom. And so that's how I figured it out. So the next thing I had to do was like, okay, so I was expecting some kind of email or correspondence or anything, right? A classic Hubsan style, right? You email them back, hey, I understand you announced the winners. Can you tell me anything about it? And then a day later, please provide your information,
Hey, Al, can I throw a couple of comments out there?
Sure.
Congratulations. That video, anybody that does any editing totally appreciates what you did on that video. That, not just your videography with the drone, but the amount of time you took to create that video was just outstanding, and you deserve to win, A. But then B, what are you going to do with all those Zino batteries now?
I know, right?
I want to congratulate you too. Funny, we were just saying last week that you did the best cinematic videos we ever saw anybody do with the Zino, and then there's like days later, then you win the contest. So maybe we were predictors or whatever. But you well deserved. I mean, watching your video, you even included clips back from the earlier firmware versions before the camera was even up to snuff. And you said you were doing a good job, even when the camera had the soft focus issue, and you had a lot of those, a couple of those clips in there from the early days, like the snow and stuff like that. So that's the amazing thing, that you were able to create this very cinematic video, and you weren't always working with the, the highest quality footage, that the Zino can do, especially now with, all the recent firmware updates. So
Yeah, and I want to thank you guys for encouraging me to enter that, and especially you, Ron, because you're always commenting on how cinematic things were looking. And so without your guys' encouragement, it would have been really hard to go through that 10-hour cutting session for editing, right? As you know. But to your comment about the earlier film, I had like tons of really, really good kayaking videos, but they were blurry because I was experimenting at the time with manual focus. And the Zeta wasn't set up for manual focus in that first release of like 0.48 or 0.49. I mean, I was trying to do it just like I did with my Spark, and my Phantom, and it just wouldn't work. So, but I did make some really good videos when it snowed. And I wanted to include that to show everybody that, you really don't need to have, the perfect firmware. You just need to have a good idea how you want to present the scenery. And so that's why I included those. Again, I was trying to cut to maybe max 3 seconds per scene, but I wanted to include the whole variety of everything: lake, city, river, sports, and then chasing trucks, right?
mm-hmm.
And then people swinging and climbing, right? So, and then from looking at the other competitors' videos, oh my gosh, their scenery is just beautiful. Greece and Italy, and I mean, just unbelievable. But that's all they had, right? That one location. It, I think they would have won easily if they would have included, their cities and their beautiful beaches and their, the action, maybe like a bike race or something like that, where you're chasing, the bike race around the city or something. I think that would be neat. Like I have an opportunity this weekend, I think. They're doing a volleyball tournament right by the river. So I can fly over the river and not be over people, and should be able to capture a volleyball game from up high. So that'll, the perspective from looking at things from up high is always different, right?
Right, definitely. Al, I just want to say your video just goes to prove that you don't need a Mavic 2 Pro to make a good cinematic video. Just some skills, with flying and an eye for the right scenery and good editing. Said you can make a nice cinematic video without spending the $1,500 on a Mavic 2 Pro. So again, kudos to what you did, Al.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it, I have the Mavic 2 Pro, right? And I posted some really fantastic videos with that, and it gets a couple hundred views. And I know, Marcus, you're always commenting on it. Was that the Zino? And I don't give what I use, but you asked me, right? And I'll reply back. But it'll be just as like, the cinematography around Richmond, Virginia at sunset, as an example, right? And the video is really high quality stuff because it's a Pro, the Mavic 2 Pro, right? So it's got the Hasselblad camera and that nice sensor. And, the shadows, you see details where the Zino doesn't show details, right? So we see that, that tree that's got that shadow underneath it, and you don't see the people in the shadows, where the Mavic 2 Pro shows all those beautiful details of those people sitting under that tree, And I don't get it why, it doesn't get the views like the other drones do. But I totally get it. The value proposition is the $300 to $500 market, right? If you can get a 4K video for $300 to $500, heck yeah, let's go for it, because then we can punch in on our videos in post editing and create whatever you want to do, right? Do the dolly zoom effect or whatever you want to do in post.
Right.
So
Listen, I just want to throw in real fast. If anybody hasn't seen the video we're talking about, in the show notes, I included a link to Al's YouTube channel. I don't have the video, but just go into Al's YouTube channel. It's only a couple of videos back, right? You haven't posted that many since. They won't have to dig back in very far to find it.
Correct. Yeah, and I think I called it the best of the Hubsan Zino videos, cinematography,
Right.
something like that.
And we did pin the video on the ZinoNation Facebook page too. So
Oh wow, thank you.
you can easily find it on the Facebook page for ZinoNation also, or again, just a link to the show notes here. But
hey, so
go ahead, Marcus.
Ron, I've got a question for the panel here, and I would particularly like to hear Bill the drone reviewer's opinion. So one of the things that I have noticed when I'm looking at on the subject of cinematic video is, man, you just like Al was talking about, you see some stuff that's just beautiful, and obviously somebody that is very, very talented with their drone and able to do reveals and capture things and scenery that, 5 years ago our jaws would all be hitting the floor. But I think that we've all become a little bit jaded now, and we've seen enough of it that it doesn't, I hate to admit this because I'm admitting it to myself. It doesn't hold our interest like it used to.
Marcus, I almost always agree with you, but I'll tell you what. Every time I come back and I think what you're thinking, okay, I see it again, and I just stop. I just stop in my tracks because, as you know, there's a lake behind our house. It faces west. We get incredible sunsets back here, and the sun reflecting off the water. The detail with that. I mean, I look at a video like 3 times, and I'll see different things in it from the Mavic 2 Pro that I didn't see before. And this weekend, I took it up. I had my kids here, and I'm going to be coming out with a video. I actually demonstrated asteroid and droney to them in the backyard because those were the 2 that I could do in the confines of my space, and they were just blown away by it. I showed them the finished product for asteroid, and they were like, wow, how cool that was. And, and then conversely, on Saturday, I had the Phantom 4 Pro up and did one of the sunset up there too. And it was as jaw-dropping as the Mavic 2 Pro. I mean, it was just golden. It was just perfect. It couldn't have been better.
I love the reflection.
We forgot to ask Bill how you. We forgot the small talk. How are you tonight, Bill?
I am doing fine. I'm on pins and needles because my daughter is due any day now. Her official due date was on Saturday, and we're past that. So that means another July birthday in the family because my wife's birthday is in July. Mine's in July. My younger son's birthday is in July. My father-in-law's birthday is in July. And now that means my granddaughter's birthday is going to be in July too. So,
well, but everybody say a prayer for Bill's daughter that hopefully everything.
Oh yeah, we're
with the delivery and also prayers for Marcus's mother, who hasn't been doing that well for the last week or so. So
absolutely,
everybody send prayers out for Marcus.
Thank you.
So, Al, I cut you off a while ago. You were about to say something.
I was gonna chime in with Bill's comment about the Phantom and Mavic 2 Pro sensors on those light reflecting off the water is just so clear and fantastic to look at. And, it's just unbelievable. I'm a sun junkie, and I chase the sunrises and sunsets. I guess since I was born, I was just born to look at the sun. And I just can't believe how nice these sensors are gotten.
Speaking of that, Al, I want to shout out another video you made, maybe a couple months ago, where you were at a lake, and you had that mirror effect where the lake looked like the sky, and that was the Zino, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. definitely anybody out there, go look at whatever that video is called. I mean, I can't believe Al got this, just this incredible mural effect on the water of clouds and sky with the Hubsan Zino. I mean, it could, look like, again, you had the Mavic, 2 Pro out there.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day that day. And one of the things that, we all like to do is slide, crab walk sideways across the water, pointing it at the sun and then revealing it behind something. And that was one of those moments that was just surreal, because the water looks better than the sky for some reason. It's just the way that the light was hitting that water. So it was hard to believe that it was upright.
Hey, I got it.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Okay, I just wanted to comment real quick. I was looking in the chat here. Hey, John Coopy agrees with me, because there's so many drone videos out there that are great in their own right, but that's right. We tend to overlook some really spectacular stuff. In any case, I'd like to hear what you think about it.
Well, Marcus, we've had this conversation in private off air before, but I think that part of it is, when we're using a Zino or the Anafi or the Fimi A3, just we get see more. If I post Mavic 2 Pro video, there's so many people post the cinematic Mavic 2 Pro video in the YouTube search window. I mean, I may appear on page 50 or whatever, but if I make a video with the Zino, I could be on page 1 or the Anafi. Maybe I'm on page 2 of the search results or whatever. But again, it's just that so many people are posting Mavic 2, Zoom Pro, whatever, that, nobody's ever going to find you unless they know you and they're looking for you. Bill, you agree with that at all?
You need to see me, because I can tell you guys a trick on how to get your Mavic 2 Pro videos and Mavic 2 Zoom videos up in the search rankings. I guarantee you it will work.
Bill, that sounds like that should be a future video on Bill the Drone Reviewers channel.
Absolutely. I can do a future video on that, but I can share that with you guys offline for now.
Okay.
Absolutely. I guarantee you. You want to do a Mavic 2 Pro or a Mavic 2 Zoom video, I can tell you how to get it up in the search rankings, and it works every time.
Well, let me speak to that for just a second, Bill. So and Ron knows about this one. So I did a video, I don't know, a couple months ago with the Mavic 2. I was on my way back from Montana, so I stopped at several places along the way, and I got some pretty good stuff, pretty good for me, that is. And boy, I spent a bunch of time editing it, put it into this spectacular video. Bill, the golden egg video has more views than that one.
and I can attest to that. Of Marcus's videos, that's one of the best ones I've seen him make. I mean, it's kind of a vlog, him and his wife are on the road. They stop at these real scenic points or whatever. Again, it maybe is one of his top videos, and and his least watched ones.
Well, see, that's one thing that I've found out and I've read. Vlogs historically, if your channel is not a dedicated vlog channel, historically they won't get a lot of views. Okay. And there's a trick, there's a way around that, because I posted my first vlog out there. I got like not even 400 views on it. Okay. And I thought it was great. I mean, it was absolutely hysterical. Valerie and I just jabbering back and forth at each other on our shopping trip, and it was just so funny. But it historically, because it's kind of a mixture of things. Unless you start out your channel as, say, a vlog, you say your channel's a vlog and a drone review channel. If you just start out strictly as a drone review channel, because that's the problem I'm having right now with my vlog. Okay, because I'm getting ready to do another one with my kids that were here. And I'm debating on how to do it and try to get more views on it, because I only got like 300, 400 views on the first one that I put out there.
Hey, so Bill, I think we got something going here in the chat room. Curtis Dart, I think, is telling us the secret. He goes, I crashed my Mavic 2 Pro.
Well, boom, a million views. Oh yeah. Well, that's not the secret that I was going to tell you guys, but yeah, that'll work too. or you could do this one. Casey Neistat likes my Mavic 2 Pro video.
There you go. Yeah,
that'll work too.
yeah. Oh, I just need to start putting "Build a Drone Reviewer" in the title of my videos. That's
Or
what I.
yeah, well, Koopy's right. He just posted there. Crash or incident videos are always popular. Because my most watched video is it was the very first video I did with my Mavic 2 Pro, and I said Mavic 2 Pro serious incident. Okay, you do something like that. I have 50,000 views, and I still get probably on the average of maybe 500 to not quite 750 views a month on that video, simply because of the title. And then people go back there and they look at it and they said, it wasn't as serious. I says, yeah, it was, because that was before they had precision landing as an option on the Mavic 2 Pro. And it was coming down, and Valerie looked at it. It was going to land on my roof. Okay. And I took control of it at the last minute, and I got it over to the landing pad instead. So yeah, it would have been a serious accident. So I wasn't really, everybody's like, oh, it's clickbait. It's not clickbait, folks. It really was a serious incident. I interrupted it. Okay. So, there's the serious incident, but I only do that if it's a real serious incident. Okay. I don't go out there and, and try to do a clickbait kind of a title kind of a thing. Cause that'll backfire.
Kind of like my first flight with this guy.
So, have you played with the hyperlapse, or they call it the video lapse on the Fimi?
I haven't at all, Al. Have you?
Yeah, I'm gonna post it because it's close to hyperlapse. Okay, so one of the things that I love doing with the Mavic 2 Pro is hyperlapse.
Yeah.
Okay, and one of the videos, flying through the fog, foggy morning, it's done in hyperlapse, and then I was coming back, and when you finish hyperlapse, and Bill probably knows this, that you hit stop, and then it's got to build the video, right? So you have a choice. Do I hang there for a little while longer and let it finish the video, or just hustle back to where you were, right? Because I usually start the hyperlapse and I just do the what is it called? Straight line hyperlapse, right? You tell her where you want to go and just let it go, and it just flies straight and true.
Line fly?
What's it? What is it?
Line fly? Is that it?
No, it's not that one. The hyperlapse is called something else. I can't remember what it is, but you can do free where you just fly around, or you can do one that you just hit a point and it goes to that point. And in the way back from that foggy flight, I hit 10%, right? So I'll start doing an auto land at the location that it's at, and it was over the water. So I'm like, no, this is not going to happen, right? So I pushed it up, but I couldn't move it any other way. I could not get it to go forward, backward, or sideways. And I fought this thing for 5% more. So I was down to 5% battery over the water, and I finally said, screw this. I'm trying to think. I can't lose the Mavic 2 Pro in the water right now, right? And I'm not panicking, but I'm worried. And so I pushed it up as far as I could and punched it up above the fog, and finally it responded. And it was such cinematic video, and I was so shaken up with it. I mean, I flew it straight over land and just brought it all the way around to me. So I figured, if it drops out of the sky, it's going to fall on land, not in the water, and I could probably find it. After that flight, I mean, I literally had another battery ready to go, but I just brought it down. I was just so shooken up about it. I was all wound up, put everything away, I went back into the house and called it. And then I looked at the video and go, oh my God, look how beautiful that looked. Once I punched up over the fog, the sun was over the fog too. And you could see the treetops popping through the fog. So it was like super beautiful. But again, I was so shaken by the event that I just didn't fly. And but so I probably should warn people about that fog is preventing some of that. You know, AccuSync, which is what shortwave radio signal punching through that fog. And I finally got it to do it by just shooting it straight up. And then instead of having to go through that many layers of fog to get to it, it went probably straight through a few layers. So that water droplets prevented that signal to get through.
That's very interesting, Al. I didn't
Hey,
realize that fog caused the connection issue.
Yeah.
Ron, we have a question in the chat room here that I think the three of us, Al and you and I, should probably answer.
Okay.
John is asking us, how good is the Zino? Now, I'll start. What I will say about the Hubsan Zino is that you have to look at it through the lens of how much of a value it is. It's a cost benefit drone. So for the price you pay for it, it's fantastic. Does it measure up to anything from DJI? Absolutely not. But for what you pay, and they have improved it now to the point they've got the firmware, they've got everything that it works pretty good. You get a good connection, good solid Wi-Fi connection. It'll go out a kilometer. It takes darn good video. Is it the best at anything? Absolutely not. But does it work pretty good now? It really does, and you can pick it up for about $250. And I just plain have fun flying it. Ron, what do you think?
Thank you, Marcus. Well, I agree pretty much with Marcus said. If you have, I don't know, $1,500 laying around or $1,250 around, and you don't own any drone, go get yourself a Mavic Pro or a Zoom, or if you have whatever 800, go get a Air, whatever. But if you're in a budget, and you have only a certain amount of money to spend for $250. It's a good value, especially a good beginner drone. Now it's a hobbyist drone because the firmware updates are like doing a Windows computer update from the 80s or whatever. So again, it's a little bit of a hobbyist drone. But and Al has proved with the right skill level and patience, you can get cinematic video out of it. Of course, it's not going to look as good as the Mavic 2 Pro video, but it's good. It's going to look decent. I mean, again, for the untrained eye, it's going to look the real good video. So I recommend it in two ways. If you're on a budget, you only have a certain amount of money to spend, under $300, or if you're somebody like Marcus and me, got too many drones, you just like to try them all out or whatever. It's a good second, third, fourth, fifth. How far do I have to go in these numbers, Marcus? It's a good ninth drone to own or whatever. Al, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree totally with what you guys said. And a couple of things to add to it too is the spare parts. Okay, the props are dirt cheap, the batteries are dirt cheap, and the camera is dirt cheap. Right, so if you bust it all up, you can put it back together very easily. Now, if you bust up one of the other drones, that are more expensive drones, that's going to really hurt, right? And the other thing that I really like about it is that it's a wild flyer, right? You have to fly it, I mean, with the other products, you literally can just walk away and let them do everything autonomously, right? And this particular guy here, I mean, you have to have fun fly. You have fun flying it because you have to fly it. And the camera has gotten the firmware on that camera is perfect. The only thing that's still messed up to this day, is the horizon. But as you all know, the Autel Evos still have a little bit of an issue with the horizon, and they've been going at it over a year with it. And so, that's the only thing that'll screw up your shots with the Zino, is that if you're flying hard and banking it, and then all of a sudden you stop it and you you gotta like stop, turn it, bank it the other way, and hope the horizon levels again. But it is the best value out there for 4K, guys. You cannot go wrong as your entry level 4K drone with that guy. And the next one is the Fimi, right? The Fimi, wow, right? $400, about 450. I mean, that guy is super for that price. You're flying 25 minutes. He's got a range of probably 16,000 feet if you're in the right conditions. And it's fast. And you get to play with all the settings on the camera too. That there's a lot of settings that I still haven't really played with. And it's got the video lapse, they call it the video lapse, that gives you the hyperlapse that we're getting with the DJI product that we love to use, right? With the Mavic and the Phantoms.
That's what I keep telling everybody about this. It is a fast drone. This thing rivals the Mavic 2 for speed and power.
To kind of sum up John's question, it's amazing. About a year ago, I'm going to say, if you didn't have enough money to buy like a Mavic Air or something like that, the only good camera option under, say under $700 is buying a Spark. Everything else was kind of like, real big compromise. You didn't get 4K, or you didn't get a gimbal, or so on. And then the Anafi came out, but that was when it came out, it was in that $700 price range too. So you still had to spend, at that point you could just get another $100 to get the Air. So you were still kind of, you were way up there to get into a good camera drone. But now, a year later, for under $500, I mean, you have several good options. You guys mentioned the Fimi and the Zino. Marcus has just recently got the other Fimi, the A3, which he's going to talk about in a few minutes. And we still have the Spark. It gets even cheaper in that price range. It's getting harder to find. Sometimes you can find a refurb on the DJI website. Sometimes you can't. Now, there's rumors out there of a Spark 2 coming. There's rumors of a Spark 2 delay. I've heard a rumor this past week the delay's going to be until November. Bill may be able to fill us in a little while on some updated Spark 2 rumors. But again, it's amazing what you can get now for under $500. You can even catch the Anafi, as Marcus and I did on Amazon refurb, for under $500, for under $450. And you talk about a sweet drone, and we could turn this into ZinoNation, but we won't. I mean, the Anafi Nation, but we won't tonight. But that's maybe the sleeper of this whole pack here, whatever, if you can get it at the right price. But anyhow, we're got a big topic. We're going to talk about the Spark Challenge pretty soon, but that may go on a while. So I want to get to this segment before we move on to the Spark Challenge. Marcus has been doing a lot of videos recently where he's talking about precision landing, and we love these cheap drones. I hate to say cheap drones, affordable drones. Sorry, but a lot of them have precision landing, and some of them are in beta. But as Marcus has found out, precision landing has been a mixed bag on the budget drones, and I want to kind of get a perspective of precision landing if everybody's not familiar with it, and I want Bill, the drone reviewer's help here. I believe that the first drone the advertiser having precision landing was the Mavic Pro Clay. So I want to go to Bill. I want to have him kind of tell us about that and tell him which DJI drones have it, and maybe Autel, or just cover the well-known drones. Who has precision landing? Who doesn't? Does it work on the drone? So Bill, can you help us out?
Sure, I can help you out from DJI standpoint. From Autel, I had the X-Star Premium. It had a return to home, but as far as accuracy was concerned, it would vary widely. So, and I can't speak as to the Evo because I don't remember. I flew the Evo once and I don't remember if that does. But for DJI, they came out with the Mavic Pro when it originally came out. It did not have it. And by the time I got mine, which was in January 2017, there was a firmware update where it was included precision landing. Now, it was a checkbox that you would have to check off and it would initiate when you would take off. And at that point, what it does is it takes a picture of the landing area and it stores it in its internal memory. It's not erasable, except by the drone itself. And then when you enable the return to home function, what it does is it gets to that coordinates by GPS, and then it looks to match up that picture that it has in its internal storage. It will align itself, and it may not always look like it's lining up right, but it does. And the best way you can tell is by tilting your gimbal all the way down to be able to take a look at it. Now, what they did was the Mavic 2, both the Pro and the Zoom, have a feature where when it's about 3 feet off the ground, if you have that gimbal pointed down, it's coming up because it sits so low to the ground. They didn't want to take any chances. The Phantom 4, however, you can still have that gimbal pointed down and it will still do that. Now, once they did that with the Mavic Pro Classic, they went ahead and they just started doing it across the board as far as the consumer drones are concerned. Now, I can't speak for the Inspire because I don't know, but all the other drones, it did get that from the Spark all the way up, including the Phantom 4 series. And one thing that I can tell you is it varies greatly from the drones. I had the Spark. The Spark was fairly accurate when I had the Spark and was doing precision landing. The other one that I had was the Mavic Pro Classic, and it did fairly well too. But the one that just absolutely hits a home run every time, and I swear, and I want to do this test. I want to put a quarter down there on the landing mat, and I want to see if it hits that quarter, or maybe a 50-cent piece, and put it down there just to see if it would recognize that and it would land that, because it's been so precise, so much, had so much precision on it. It just hit it to a T. And one of the things too, and I think people need to understand the whole reason for precision landing. I caught a lot of flack during my first flight. And I put DJI Mavic 2 Pro Series Issue, and the Series Issue was, my wife noticed on my first flight it was going to hit the roof of our garage when I was landing, and I had to take control of it and bring it over. And then I found out, and I was looking, I did not see a checkbox for precision landing, so I tweeted DJI support, and lo and behold, I started the ball rolling as far as getting precision landing added in a timely manner. I kept up with DJI support on Twitter, and it made such a big difference. They got that out there. Now, the part of the flack that I caught was, well, you know what? I hand catch mine. You know what? I don't care if it's a foot or two off the pad. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference. Well, lo and behold, it does make a difference for some people, for quite a few people. One of the, and I'll give you two examples. Art, who everybody knows about, and Mike Roach. They're both handicapped. And, I know Mike, he's told me, he says, he uses a table for his Mavic 2s to land on. And he needs to land on the table because he's paralyzed from the waist down. He can't bend over to pick up a drone, okay? So he needs that precision landing. And if you know what it takes for Art to get out there and fly a drone, okay, he can't be going like, it's like 3 or 4 feet off where the landing pad is. He needs it to go on the landing pad. Now, another instance where these could come in real handy, say you're hiking up in the mountains and you're on a ledge and you want it to land right where it took off from. You need that precision landing, and that's why that Mavic 2, I mean, I would just about bet the book every single time that that's going to land on the spot. Now, one of the things that I tell people, and I want to caution people about this. One of the things, this is for me, people need to make sure of one thing. They need to make sure before they take off that compass is calibrated. Because if your compass is not calibrated, I'm going to tell you this, it's not going to land. Precision landing will not work. It will be off. And the other thing that I also tell people too is make sure that the IMU has recently, that's something like every maybe 3 months or so to recalibrate the IMU. And it's real easy to do that. There's tutorials that DJI has out. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes and it's done and it's easy. But I can't overemphasize enough, especially, calibrating that compass. I mean, if you move from a different location than where you've been flying, you need to calibrate that compass. Okay. And I fly from the same location almost all the time. But I go out there, it's like every other time I'll calibrate the compass just for grins and giggles. And I've never had an issue with precision landing, especially with a Mavic 2.
Thanks for that info, Bill. Al, do you have much experience with precision landing? I mean, I know you're a hand catcher and all that, so do you use it all?
Yeah, and one of the things that you have to watch out for with that one is the compass gets messed up around metal. And so I'm always flying around railroad tracks and bridges. So when you take off, it sometimes gets messed up. So word of advice is when you're flying and you're flying around a metal structure, and that's if you're taking off close to a metal structure, you're almost going to be off every time. But other than that, if you're in a field, on a dock, even on a boat, it'll come back right to it. So I've had no problems when I'm actually on my boat and using it. We'll use the dynamic home and hand catch it. And it's a little tricky because the boat's moving and the drone's moving. And your hands are right there, and the water's underneath you. So that's where the Phantom series is probably better drone for boating because of the fact that it's got those really long landing legs that you can kind of just grab. Where the Mavic series, you have to grab the body. You can't grab an arm. Obviously, it'll cut you. And I don't know, have you guys been cut by blades?
I know Billy Kyle has, and Billy Kyle was cut real bad on his Mavic Pro Classic.
Yeah, the Zino's cut me pretty bad. Right on the thumb. It's just so. One of the things with hand catching is always, you have to be brave because of those blades. But the DJI products, it had nicked right through my gloves. I was flying in the winter, and I just made a mistake, and it just cut right through my glove. Luckily, it didn't cut me because those blades are much, much stiffer. They have more, kind of more power behind them, because they weigh more. So therefore, they can actually cut. So, I was thinking about, doing something for the Mavic 2 Pro when I'm in the water on the boat. Maybe doing some kind of long handle, just take off from my hand and catch it by there. I don't know. I got to figure that one out because it's always kind of real sketchy catching it. Scary thing, Ron.
So
I'm not a hand catcher, so I've never. I only hand catch like my little toy drones or whatever. So I've never been cut.
So I've seen you hand catch this guy right there, the Fimi, and I haven't worked up the courage to do it yet. Now the Zino, to me, that thing, I love hand launching and hand catching it because it's got that big body where the battery is. You can go from underneath, and you're not anywhere near the props, and you can grab it and works pretty good. This guy, I don't know, you don't have as much of the body there to grab a hold of. I've seen you do it, and it's impressive, but I haven't tried it yet.
Oh my gosh, I was dovetailing that conversation we had about metal structures, flying underneath I-95 bridge and in Richmond, and the Fimi was right there, and I was getting ready to catch it, and all of a sudden it literally just took off on its own, and I moved out of the way, and I went straight past over my shoulder and hit the riverbank. and sat there and just chewed up some mud. I've got to post that one for you guys to see. Probably the next one I should post because I think it'll probably, the most interesting, as Ron was, and you guys were saying, and Bill, Fimi crash. Everybody's gonna want to see the crash.
Hey, I want to give a little update from the chat. RD Drone Reviews isn't here. That's Ryan. Ryan corrected me when I said there wasn't any good 4K options under $700. He pointed out the Xiaomi 4K Mi drone was like around $500 and had been out for a couple years. So there was a under $700 4K whatever 3-axis gimbal drone last year. And also I saw another comment in the chat. Marcus can probably help us out here. Did you see this, Marcus? There's a little controversy about the Fimi A3 where somebody said it wasn't very, the gimbal wasn't stable. I forget the comment, but there was a little controversy about the Fimi A3 not being stable. I know you haven't had it in the air too much, but do you have any, can you help us out at all, Marcus?
Yeah, I do. So I've got, let me say that I have some concerns about the A3 to the point that I'm considering returning it to Banggood, even if it costs me a little money. I haven't made my mind up yet, but here is a couple of issues that are kind of tough to deal with. You have that built-in FPV screen on the remote controller that is very, very difficult to see. Even when you're in the shade, it's tough to get it because it's a couple things going on there. It's not very good resolution and it's not very bright. One or the other would help you, but the combination of both is tough. And if you're in the sun with that remote controller, you can't see anything. Now, you can hook up FPV goggles to it, which might be kind of fun, and that would probably be the way to fly it. But secondly, and this is different than what John Coopy was talking about earlier. John, I read your comments there with interest, and I don't have enough experience with it yet to comment on what you were saying. The gimbal seemed okay to me, but I don't want to say that it's good yet or not. But one of the problems, and this evidently is a common problem that a lot of people are having, is you get it up at altitude. And when I say altitude, I'm talking about, 150 feet or so. The lens fogs up on the camera. So I'm going to put a video here in a couple of days, and you'll see it. When it's down low, everything's pretty clear. And then as soon as you get up in the air, you fog the lens up. And a lot of people are having that problem. And there's been guys, I guess, that have taken a hairdryer and they've pried the lens cover off, and then they've dried it out, and then they've glued that lens cover back on there. Hey man, not for me. I'm not going to go do that business. But if the support people can come up with a good solution, I'll consider keeping it. If not, I'll probably send it back to Banggood. But anyway, that's because it's a bargain. $229 for that drone is phenomenal if it worked, and that's the problem. If it doesn't work, it's $229 is too much. So now let me add, I've kind of thrown it under the bus there. Man, it was really fun to fly. It handled really well, and it was pretty powerful and stability wise. One of the first things I noticed is how much more stable it is than the Hubsan Zino. It was real stable, and it doesn't have any optical flow or anything like that, but it held its spot in space pretty darn good. So that's probably more information than you were asking for, Ron, but that's it.
No, thank you very much for the update on the Fimi A3, and we look forward to your weekly updates. How you make out with it if you decide to keep it, and so on. Because obviously, there's people talking about in the chat, so a lot of people are interested because it seems to me quite a few people have the X8, but not that many people have their hands on the A3 yet. So that information is very valuable. I want to jump topics real fast because I don't know if Bill could stay with us much longer. He needs to get up early, but I want to get into the Spark Challenge. And what the Spark Challenge is, for anybody who doesn't know, about a month ago, Marcus and I had Billy Kyle on the show. Everybody knows Billy, right? He's the DJI guy. Well, guess what? We weren't talking DJI. Well, we weren't talking DJI then, but we did get onto the Spark. And Billy said that you don't need the OTG cable anymore, that they fixed the Wi-Fi, and why you could fly just as good in the Wi-Fi. So that stuck in the back of my mind. And last week, down at the shore here at the beach, I took the Spark out and flew it one flight with the on Wi-Fi, and the second flight on OTG, and exactly the same spot, same path, no other variances. So to Billy's what he said is I took it out with Wi-Fi to just a little over 3,000 feet, like 30-50, and it lost FPV, and it went and returned to home and came back. So then I put a second battery in and hooked up the OTG cable, performed same exact test, same pattern. And about 2250, it lost FPV, but it came right back to me. It does just what it's supposed to. But Marcus, I asked Marcus to perform the Zino Challenge, the Spark Challenge, to see if he would get the same results. Because I told people when they couldn't believe that I did Godfather and Wi-Fi, I said, "Well, your results may vary. It's just me doing it one time." So we'll jump to Marcus now. He just posted a video today. Again, I don't have it linked in here, but Marcus' channel is linked in the show notes here, so it's probably his most recent video. So, Marcus, what did you find?
I had more fun making that video, Ron, first of all. It was really fun. And you know what? I think Al Duran is going to make us both look bad when he does his, I'll bet you. But so what I did was I took the Spark. I had a couple of batteries, so I took the Spark up in the air. I did it first on Wi-Fi, and I made it out to almost exactly 3,000 feet, and I lost connection. And just like what Ron described, the drone did exactly what it's supposed to do. It flipped around and headed on home. So, I messed around with it a little bit, then tried some little precision landing with it too, just for the fun of it. But then slapped that second battery in there and put the OTG cable on the from my Apple iPhone XS to the controller. And I should preface that by saying that let's all understand that this is not what the Spark was made for. The Spark is a selfie drone. It is not, I repeat, it is not a long distance flyer. But maybe that's what makes this challenge so much fun. So anyway, plugged that OTG cable in there and took it out. And I start at Heroes Park in Meridian, and there's a field kind of across 10-mile road that I can go out into. And I got clear to the far corner of that field, and it was about 3,500 feet. And there's another big major highway across that. So I did not want to fly the drone any further. I didn't want to go across the highway or anything. So I stopped at 3,500 feet and turned around and brought it home. But I think that's the Spark Challenge, and we'd like to see. I think it'd be fun to see other people post some videos up of how far out there they can get with the Spark with and without the OTG cable. And based on our earlier conversation with Al Duran, like I said, I think he's going to win that championship too.
Hey, I want to ask Bill, the drone viewer, real fast. How far will the Spark 2 test unit you have go?
I'm under NDA, Ron.
I'm sorry.
I can't say a word.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, here I have this, but you know what? I can give you guys a glimpse. Hang on.
This is the first time
out of the laboratories here.
Wow, this looks a lot like the Golden Egg drone.
It looks a lot like the Golden Egg drone. Well, the Golden Egg drone is now destined for Mr. Steve Carpenter's residence. So when I get some time, it's going to get mailed, Mr. Steve Carpenter. But this one arrived to me with all kind of paperwork and NDA written all over it, and you can't say a word about it, kind of a thing. And I mean, I shouldn't be. I can get a lot of trouble showing this to you guys.
You can.
So I better put this down. I really
Yeah. Look, lawyers are driving to your house right now.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to get Frank Wang. I'm in trouble with Frank Wang. I'm on good terms with him right now.
No. Hey, Bill. In all seriousness, when you owned a Spark, did you fly mostly Wi-Fi or mostly OTG?
I mostly OTG because I was getting. Well, see, where I flew, I was getting so much interference with Wi-Fi. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I said, I could barely get it to go up. And I said, you know what? Time out here. I'm going OTG. And that's what I did. I flew that mostly OTG. Now, it did really well. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at my records to see how many, what my distance was. But, I mean, I got a great signal. I know for sure to the end of the lake, it's about 2,500 feet. And I was getting a really strong signal at the end of the lake from the Spark. I had absolutely no problem with that at all.
Yeah, well, I remember, especially in the early days, the OTG cable, worked better. So that's very true of, we'll say, 2017, before, the updates came along and basically, fixed the Wi-Fi issues.
Oh, yeah. Oh, before I forget, I want to mention this, and this was some news that I came across tonight, and this, I think, especially for hobbyists, I think this is something that's going to be great. The federal government, they had a webinar the other day, and LAANC will now be available to all hobbyist pilots as of July 23rd. So that's absolutely huge news. I mean, that's just, and it was early because more people, we really weren't expecting that till maybe like early 2020. And they came on a webinar the other day and they said, this is what we're doing. Now I got links posted on my all my groups, the Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook page and group. And, it's on Drone DJ. That's where the article's from that I read. And there's also a link to the webinar so you could see it. But this is absolutely huge news. I mean, that really makes a big difference for a lot of hobbyist pilots. I mean, it's monumental.
Can you elaborate on that?
Ken Heron already made a video showing how to use Lance on the Air Map app, and he also, I think he said that it was going to be available for hobbyists. So if anybody wants to see it working on the app, visit Ken Heron's video he just posted, I think, last night. Go ahead, Al. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I don't know what you guys were discussing, so I was trying to figure out what it is. Is the app that sits on top? Or?
Bill, can you explain it in full for
Sure.
Al that doesn't know what we're talking about?
Well, LAANC, that stands for low altitude, and I don't know the rest of the name of the acronym, but basically what it is it's a way through the Air Map app for you to get permission from the tower instead of having to apply to the FAA to get a waiver. If you want to fly within the 5 mile zone, you can go ahead and use LAANC and you type it out and you send it to them and you pretty much get an instantaneous response back from them saying whether, yes, you have permission to do this or no, we need more information, that type of a thing. But I mean, the response should come back like that. And I think the big problem was they were waiting because not a lot of towers and not a lot of airports have LAANC. And one thing I want to caution everybody is just because, they said that this is going to be available July 23rd doesn't mean that the airport has it. Because, for example, I'll give you an example. There is, and it's about, it's on my way to work. And I showed this to my wife, and it's real interesting. There are a strip of about 10 houses over near where I work, and their backyard is a runway, literally. Okay. It's a grass runway, but it has lights and it has, it has some navigation aids over there. Now you're not going to have that on ones like that. It's going to have, they have what's called, and I forget the name of the signal. It's a homing beacon. and it's just radio navigation there. They don't have any of the aids that a fully equipped airport does. So you're not going to have LAANC around there, so you won't be able to get permission to fly around there because there is no control tower. There is no means to be able to do that. So not all airports are going to be equal. A lot of the smaller ones aren't equipped like some of the ones that will have LAANC. So just be aware of that and knowing, well, Bill, the drone reviewer said they'll all have them. Well, no, the smaller ones aren't going to have them because they don't have any of the equipment to handle, traffic on a 24-hour basis.
Here's something that people don't often mention about the AirMap app. Do you know, Bill, that with the AirMap app, you could fly your DJI drones right inside the app?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Kitty Hawk was like that too. Now, Kitty Hawk's gone a lot more on the commercial end. I used to use Kitty Hawk quite a bit, and it interfaced very well with DJI Go 4, and it was really kind of seamless to do that. I haven't tried it with AirMap, but I heard it's the same, and I think that's a good subject for a video, guys.
Oh. Last time I tried, Bill, it wasn't as full features using the Go app, but you're right. That bears looking into maybe this week, and maybe even making a kind of a collaborative video.
Yes.
And Marcus may be up to the second challenge with the Spark challenge going. Now we have the flying your DJI drone with the AirMap app. Now everybody that has what are under warranty DJI drones use an older drone that's not under warranty. Well, use your Phantom 4 or your Spark or something that maybe is not under warranty. But
well, I'll accept a donation of a Spark being sent to me, considering mine flew the coop about a year ago. So if anybody wants to mail me a Spark for the challenge, or longer, I'll give you my address. Just buildadronereviewer@gmail.com, and we'll get it taken care of.
And listen, anybody that accepts the Spark challenge, you make a video, post it on YouTube, and we'll get you on this show. We'll get you right on this show next week, the week after, whatever. You'll come on the show and you'll talk about it live on the air with us. We could even get maybe have a, well, I don't want to say a contest, but like a winner or whatever. Maybe we can,
we can go to Burger King and we can get one of those paper crowns.
No, here's a prize for the winner. We'll buy them the golden egg that has the camera with it.
And I know I got more toy drones back here that I could send. They're coming Marcus's way if they don't go some other way. So, anyways, listen. This I said this at the beginning. We have one of our loyal, I hate to say listeners, watchers, Cigar Nation Warriors, aka William Bill, who's a veteran. Shout out to a veteran here. He had an issue with his Zino. So everybody in the chat room, I hope all my Zino people are listening. We got 3 Zino people in the challenge. So here it is. Pardon my reading here. Okay. He says, "Hi, Ron. Today I decided to upgrade to the 1.1.52 firmware, and I'm not able to put through the upgrades. After trying for over 1 hour, I said the heck with it and took it out to fly. Ironically, I didn't experience the Zino drop, and the quad drifted very little, but my gimbal is locked in some sort of protection mode. After numerous calibrations, all successful, the gimbal remains locked, and the gimbal wheel on the RC does nothing. It's a fun flying brick with no camera at this point." He says, "I hope that on ZinoNation next week, you'll consider fronting my issues. Maybe someone out there will know what to do. It's all very frustrating." Well, that's my story, Bill. So, does anybody have any ideas how we can help Bill out with his gimbal lock and his unsuccessful upgrade?
I know I would downgrade my. One of the first things that I would do is go ahead and go back down on maybe 1.50, and then start going and do the camera and the gimbal firmware to the 50 first, and see if that fixes it. and then I would step up, trying to go to 0.52 again. I like 0.52 a lot. So
So he said, Bill, and I thought I'd read it earlier, says he's got his gimbal situation straightened out. It's working again, but he cannot upgrade. So that evidently is an issue with getting that little upgrade program on his computer. And so the thing is, am I correct, Bill, on that? I think that's what your issue is that the little upgrade program won't work for you. And I'm not sure. That could be a computer issue, or it could be an issue with the Zino program itself. I am honestly not sure where to go from there.
yeah, I've had that similar issue. I have the 501S also, and I've had very similar issues with some of the transmitter upgrades on the 501S, where they just wouldn't take. It just hung forever. And I had to actually switch from a laptop to a desktop to get it to work. But again, it was an OS issue, I think, because I was on Windows 7, and then I jumped up to Windows 10. And so that program firmware is called, they just call it the Zino firmware upgrade tool. And there's only one version, is 1.0 that I know of, unless you guys know of it, something different. I'm looking at it right now, and it says Zino upgrade tool version 1.0. And that's the one that was distributed with the latest software too.
Yeah.
Marcus, I wonder if maybe Bill didn't, how you always recommend to do all the firmware upgrades for the flight controller, the gimbal, the camera, and even the controller all at the same time. I wonder if like that process did not happen for him, and that could be part of his issue.
That is possible. So yeah, I would say that. Now the way I always do it. Listen, when I first tried to do the upgrade, what I did is I went out and I watched Hubsan's video, and then I just followed it very precisely. And what they want you to do is the flight control firmware first, then the gimbal firmware second, and then the camera firmware. And they want you, even if only one of those has been upgraded, they want you to go through and do all three of them. And one of the reasons is, I can tell you personally, I was having connection issues. And what I had done was there was a firmware upgrade, a flight control firmware upgrade. I upgraded that. I did not then upgrade the camera firmware because it was the same number as what I already had loaded in there. And what they said was okay, you upgraded the flight control. It's thinking that you're going to upgrade that other stuff too. And it starts polling the SD card, looking for those files for the camera, and that interrupts your connection. So all I can say is I'm not a technical guy, but I can tell you my experience is that when I started following that protocol exactly, all of my connection problems went away, and it always has worked fine.
I see Cigar Nation Warriors left a comment in here that he was running Windows 10. First upgrade went through fine. Now the box showing the little upgrade box isn't coming up. Have her at the ready. Hey, before we'll continue on with his problem, but I want to give Bill the drone reviewer a chance to say goodnight if he wants to. I know he's got to get up early in the morning, and it's after 10 o'clock. Bill, if you have to go ahead and plug your show tomorrow night and plug any recent videos, and we'll let you get some shut eye.
Yeah, I do want to get going here because I got an early start tomorrow. I was up real early today. My kids left at 5 a.m. this morning, so I said goodbye to them. So it's been a long day. Ron, Marcus, Al, thank you so much for letting me be on tonight. Al, you did an exceptional job on that video. Congratulations to you for that. Thank you guys for what you do with ZinoNation, because it's important that we have more than just DJI out there, and it's important that we learn about these drones. And I want to thank, especially Ron and Marcus for getting together and doing ZinoNation, because it's a great service to the drone community. The chat's been fantastic. It's been engaging. Many people look at it as an option, because of the cost and the price of it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And keep up the excellent work. Tomorrow night, on Tuesday night, Rotor Talk Live at 8 p.m. Eastern, Ron and Marcus, my co-hosts, will be joining me with Curtis Dart, and we will be having on Scott Parazynski. If you don't know who Scott Parazynski is, he is the CEO of Fluidity Tech, and Fluidity Tech makes the FT Aviator, the joystick controller for drones. So you do not want to miss this episode. And Scott also wants us to be able to ask him questions about his time as a shuttle astronaut. He flew on 5 shuttle missions. He did 8 spacewalks. He took the most dangerous spacewalk ever. And Marcus is getting his card up to show you from FT Aviator. He has one on order. He doesn't have it yet. And I could not be more thrilled tomorrow night. We're going to have a great time. Everybody I've heard said Scott is absolutely fantastic. So thank you for having me on. Your ZinoNation tech support is always ready here. Never an issue. We're always here for you guys. Again, thanks guys so much for having me on tonight. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks,
Bill. Have a good evening.
Will do. You guys too. Take care.
Good night.
So, Better with the Drone has joined us. He's one of our regulars. Better with the Drone. If you don't familiar with him now, he was like us. He's one of the first people to have a Zino. He had his, last December, and he lives near Chicago, or in Chicago, and he was out there flying in all the bad weather like the rest of us was when it first arrived. But he had an unfortunate, we'll say, accident recently, and the Zino is gone. But he did some amazing work with the Zino in the early days, and we want to thank him for all his videos and everything he posted, for being a loyal, viewer to this show. So thank you. Cigar Nation says, decent Wi-Fi connect and fix the camera and gimbal. Decent. So I guess he means a Wi-Fi connection to the for his computer to his internet.
No, I think he's talking about the drone itself. I believe. I don't know,
Okay.
but I think, if I understand correctly, his only problem now is he's unable to do that next upgrade because he can't get the firmware upgrade tool to work correctly, which maybe delete it and download it again. I don't know. I'm sure he's probably done that already, but
Right.
yeah, I'm not sure what to do there.
Hey, Al, Better with the Drone said Al's videos really thrill me.
Oh man, thank you. Better with the Drone is unbelievable channel too. So thank you, buddy.
Hey, guess what? Better with the Drone just said now. Thanks for the shout. He said, "I now have a Spark. One week now. My first DJI product." Well, Marcus, could Better with the Drone be? Could he be part of that Spark challenge?
Well, funny you mentioned that, because he and I have already discussed it a little bit. He had commented on the video, and I think he is more interested in flying that drone well within, closer in, and enjoying it. He had that issue with the Zino, which evidently was a bad battery. So I don't think he'll be wanting to do the Spark challenge, and I'm going to say I don't blame you a bit.
Forrest John just also congratulated Al on winning the cinematic Zino contest. So the kudos keep coming in. Al said just a great job. And Cigar Nation Warriors says he's going to keep trying with the Zino. So just reach out to me, Bill, through email, whatever. Keep me updated. Marcus and I both try to help you. through emails, and hopefully when you come on next week, you'll have your issues resolved. And we may try to hook you up with somebody else too that maybe can help you a little bit better. So, we're with you, Bill.
That's a big 10-4.
Yeah, Marcus, anything else you want to, any other topics or anything you want to bring up? Do you see anything in the chat that you want to mention?
Well, so, we can talk about, since particularly Al and I have both been messing around with the Fimi, and we've talked the Fimi X8 SE, and we've both talked about it a little bit already. But I have got, in fact, in the background on my computer right now, there is a video rendering of my most recent experience with this. They did another firmware upgrade. The firmware upgrades have been coming hot and heavy, and now we're up to flight control 1053A. The last one was 1052E. So one of the things that they said they were going to improve on it was the ability, I think they call it Smart Track in Fimi speak, follow me functions. So I did a little testing with that, and one of the other controversial things about this is the precision landing, which when you talk about like the Zino and this Fimi, it's not precision landing like we think of with DJI products. It has to have a landing pad, and what it looks for is a landing pad. And in this one, it does have a downward facing camera here that it uses to look for that pad. I've got it to work one time is all. And it'll come down and it'll tell you that it can't find the landing pad. And one time I had it said landing pad found, and boy, it got there. But that's the only time I've ever got it to work. And what has surprised me is that it has created a lot of passionate responses in the comments of some of my videos. People are very opinionated about how the precision landing should or should not work with this thing, and have given me a lot of advice. And truthfully, I appreciated it, and it was really fun to try some of the things that people suggested that would work. One of the ones that really cracked me up is I had a number of people say, "Hey, that lens on that bottom camera must be dirty." So I did. Hey, I took some air and I sprayed it out there, and it didn't make any difference. So precision landing is a bust on this guy. But Al had talked about horizon issues earlier. That was one of my biggest complaints with this drone. I've now had 3 flights in a row with a good, stable horizon. So to me, that's the most important thing, because why do we buy these products? We do it to get good cinematic videography. And, we can talk about all those other automated features, whether they work, whether they don't, whatever. If the drone doesn't fly good and it doesn't have a good camera and you can't get good, stable video with it, what's the point of even having it? And they really are getting this thing, I think, to the point that it's a really good flying camera. So, Al, I've talked enough. What do you think?
Agreed. I don't think that precision landing is very accurate. But from watching Dustin Dunnell's comments, I know that he's been in contact with Xiaomi, right, about it. They told him to use the orange pad, not the blue pad, but the orange section of the pad. And I must admit, it's not one of my things that I like to do, but I think that's probably something that we maybe should try. Just burn one whole battery up and see how many times it lands on that orange pad and how many times it doesn't.
So that was one of the pieces of advice that I got, and I've tried orange pad, blue pad, on the grass, on the tarmac, and I've burned up more than a single battery. I've burned up a few batteries doing it. But you know what, Al? I would love to see a video of you doing the same thing. And what you're going to find is there are some passionate people out there about how that is supposed to work, and you'll get a ton of advice. And like I said, I'm saying that a little bit tongue in cheek, but I appreciated it, and it was really fun trying some of the different things that people mentioned.
Marcus, I want to give a precision landing update. Last week, I think it was Friday, I took the Zino down to the beach, and it was like one of those one 1 mile per hour wind days, which almost never happens here in New Jersey. And I finally got the Zino to do a precision landing. We landed right inside the inner circle of the pad, right on it. But I tried a second one, in that same day, and it did not. It only got 2 legs on, but I've got, at least I have one precision landing under my belt now.
The Zino is really fun for precision landing. It's not very good at it, but it's really entertaining to do with, because some of the viewers probably don't know. But what the Zino uses the video camera for precision landing. And as you're coming in, it literally drops the gimbal down, and it looks for that landing pad. But what it does is it brings up a little target, and that target moves around. And when it finds the landing pad, it turns green color. It says, I got it. And you think, okay, I'm going to get a perfect landing. And it'll come right down, and it'll be about, I don't know, 4 foot off the ground. And then it'll lose the target, and it'll land off to the side.
And correct me if I'm not wrong, Marcus. On the Zino, you need the blue pad. You need the blue side.
The blue side worked better with the Zino. That is absolutely correct.
Or orange with Fimi and blue with Zino.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
just fun to mess around with. That's the point.
Yeah. So again, precision landing is kind of a hot topic, but I guess the what your takeaway is, don't say you have precision landing unless it works 95% of the time. Well,
what at least what Hubsan says is, they said, hey, they didn't say it was going to work every time. They said, hey, this is a beta, so play around with it. They weren't saying that it was something that worked. Whereas Fimi says, oh yeah, you got precision landing. Well, no, you don't.
Right. I mean, the best drone I've ever seen for precision landing was that Mavic 1 Pro, and not right away. Like when it first got it, it wasn't that consistent. But whatever, after year after it was out, they got that perfect. That thing used to land, I mean, dead center of the pad, like over 90% of the time. You would rarely see it not land, and it's probably my fault for not calibrating enough and doing the IMUs like a Bill said on a consistent basis. But that was the best one I ever saw. And I mean, I have the Mavic 2 Pro now, and I've seen it. It does well in precision landing, but it doesn't seem to do as well as the one did. But maybe that's just me. Like again, results may vary depending on where you're flying and how recently you calibrated it, and whatever. And again, a lot of us, you two are hand launchers, and a lot of us, like the only reason I want precision landing is so it doesn't land in the grass and sand. But I mean, I probably more often than not manually land. I very ever. The only time I precision land is when I'm trying to show off for a video. If I'm not rolling the cameras, I just manually land it.
Yeah.
Well, we've been at it about an hour and a half now, Ron. What do you think?
I think it's about time to wrap it up. We've taken enough of Al's evening up. He's probably got a lot to do now. He's home from vacation at the beautiful Virginia Beach. Was the weather good most of the week, Al?
Yeah, it was beautiful. I actually have a lot of really good footage.
I bet you do.
But the problem with that is, what do you use, right? And then you still have the other stuff, like, the Fimi crashing into the riverbank. Do I do that one first, or I do the pretty, sunrises and sunsets? So, as you all know, the more dramatic the crash is, views you get. I especially like Marcus is flying the initial maiden flight of the Fimi.
Oh my
Like, what the heck?
Yeah, yeah.
Mark, is that your most viewed Phoebe video? The
Uh,
exploding props.
it is the most viewed Fimi video. I've got other videos that have quite a lot more views than that, but yeah, and I don't know. You can probably tell on the look on my face on that video. There was nobody more shocked than I was. That's for sure.
I have to link it. My friend Mike Cruz, that's Birdman 316. A couple years ago, I think the first video I ever saw his, he was flying an X16, bang on X16 was a tool GPS drone, and he's flying it, and the prop just explodes in the air. It was worse than yours. He was higher up, and I mean, it really exploded or whatever. And it was like this, all we talked about. Did you see that video where the prop exploded on the guy? He was flying like a stock prop, and it was brand new, so it was just must have been a defective prop, but anyways, I want to again thank Al again for coming on the show, and as always, I want to thank Marcus for co-hosting this show with us. I say this great show, but I guess we'll leave that to the viewers if it's a great show or not. And again, I want to thank everybody that joined us in chat tonight, like our regulars in there. I would shout you out, but I don't want to leave somebody out. I'm gonna make a list up of our top viewers or whatever. I'm gonna shout them out but I don't want to do it tonight because I don't want to leave anybody out. But I want to make a couple promos. I want to promote Bill the drone review show tomorrow night. He already did it, so I won't go into detail. But remember, Bill's show 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know the guest. Bill already said it. It's going to be a great show. And then Wednesday night, Bill Thomas on Drone Therapy is going to do a special kind of 4th of July episode. It's a day before, so it's July 3rd. He's still going to do a 4th of July episode. And I believe somebody else in his panel is going to be a guest on that show. Raise your hand. Marcus Crawford. Bill's going to have like a cast of thousands on that night. We're trying to get everybody we can on this special holiday show. So don't miss that. And also, I want to say a special shout out to Sean. That's the Spanish Drone Seekers. Sean picks a user video every weekend. Marcus got the honor this week. He picked Marcus's video as the Drone Seeker video of the week. Marcus, which one was it again?
Yeah. Well, that was the one that where I plowed the Zino into the ground.
Right.
I've had two crashes, folks. That's all.
Right. Yeah. And what was it? You thought you lost part of it? It was just grass or something?
Yeah. So they had just it's a soccer pitch where I fly. They have a lot of youth soccer matches at that park, and they had just put in a bunch of lines out there, and there was a leaf that they had gone over with the paint, so it was white. It was a white painted leaf. And I looked over there and I saw this white thing next to the drone, and I thought, oh man, it's in pieces. And it wasn't. It was just fine. The drone was actually absolutely unhurt. I had to pick some grass out of it, but I was able to take off with it. And that was I need to preface it by saying that was testing some firmware, and I was purposely flying really low to the ground, which is not what the drone is designed for and not what you should be doing. But anyway, so anyway, that's the one that made Drone Seekers list there.
International, I think they call it, right?
Yeah.
And anyhow, anybody watch this, if they don't know what I'm talking about, just go over to YouTube, type in Drone Seekers, or go to Facebook page or whatever. They're a great group or whatever. What's Sean's last name?
Matthews.
Sean Matthews, a great guy. He's got another channel, Expat Mazaron. So check him out. And I guess that's all I got for tonight. Marcus, you want to close us out here?
Yeah. So, I think we covered a lot of pretty good subjects tonight, including the Spark Challenge. I think that was a lot of fun. And again, I really want to congratulate Al. I mean, that really was phenomenal. I mean, the video, you got to watch that thing. And anybody that edits these videos, well, anybody that flies a drone or edits videos is going to appreciate the work and craftsmanship that he put into that, and he really deserves that win. And I think he gets a new Zino with 3 batteries and a carrying case and stuff. And man, that's the least they could do, because you've done more advertising, Al, for Hubsan and for the quality of that product than probably anybody out there. And then I also, again, want to put in a plug for Bill the Drone Reviewer show tomorrow. With I mean, how often are you going to get to see an astronaut on one of these kind of live shows? And Scott Perezinski is he really is a Renaissance man. He can do anything, and he invented that FT Aviator controller, which is really going to be amazing. And I've got one ordered. In fact, I got an email today that said it'll ship on July 19th. So really looking forward to that. So that's about all I have. Al, do you have any closing comments?
No, I'm making notes of all these great shows and people to visit. So I wanted to thank you guys for sharing that. I want to thank you guys for giving me all the praises. I really do appreciate it. And I'll be watching Build the Drone Review tomorrow at 8 o'clock, correct?
8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Well, you're in the same time zone I am. So, yep.
Yep.
So, yeah, one last time, just to, congrats to Al, everybody anybody that's still here. If you haven't seen that video, go down below in the show links, find a link to Al's channel and watch that thing, and watch all his videos. So while you're in there, subscribe and hit that notification bell, whatever, but especially go right to the, what's the title? The best of the
Hubsan Zino Cinematography. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right, gentlemen, I will say good evening. And, Al, we want to have you back on again real soon. We love having you on. The people our people in chat love you. So we want to get you back on again. So, we'd love to have you back soon.
Thank you, guys. You all have a good night.
Good night, Al. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Marcus.
You bet.
Thanks, Ron.